As we continue this series, not to insult your intelligence, but I for a moment want to give you an illustration for you to get a greater understanding of how this works. I want you to imagine for me, real quickly, 3 rooms. 3 separate rooms. Now, in these 3 separate rooms are multiple doors. This morning, to understand what the scripture is saying, I want to give you this illustration to paint a better picture for us, to recognize that there are doors in our life, meaning access points. Everybody say access points. There are access points in our life that, if not careful, we can leave open to the enemy. If not careful, you say, well, Pastor, I've been swept clean. I've been washed by the blood of the Lamb. I've given my life to Jesus. Exactly. That is the same picture that Jesus uses here in this illustration. He says the house has been swept clean, it's washed, it's pure, but all of a sudden that stinking devil, you kicked him out before, but he wants to come back. Why? Because the demonic functions in arid places, meaning that they still exist, but they have to have a host. Hold on. You go, what do you mean a host? You remember that moment when Jesus speaks to the demoniac? And the demons cry out to Jesus, don't cast us out. Put us in the pigs. Don't just cast us out and leave us in no man's land. Cast us into the pigs. Why? That's called arrogance. They have to host. They need a host. Everybody say they need a host. The demonic, in order to function, needs a host. Now, a territory can actually be a host, believe it or not. What does that mean? If you designate a specific territory for demonic activity, that becomes a host for that demonic activity. But the demonic, in order to function, needs a host. Everybody with me? Are you guys following? So I want you to imagine real quick 3 rooms. In those rooms are multiple doors. And they are access points that the enemy wants to attempt to use to access our life, to infiltrate, to influence. Everybody say influence. Now, is there a difference between influence and possession? Absolutely. Possession is when we are given over to the demonic's influence and it becomes habitual in our life and the way we live. We completely give over our lives over and the control over to the demonic. However, and a lot of people say, well, Pastor, I'm a Christian. It's impossible for me to be possessed. Now, we're not going to have that debate today. And I'm not even going to tell you what my stance is on that. You're going to have to read the word and figure it out for yourself. But I will say this. If you're not careful, influence can turn into infestation. I'm not talking about possession. Influence can turn into infestation. And what infestation turns into, we know not of. But we do understand this. As we get into the Word, we see very clearly people that have made a decision for Jesus, yet still battle with the influence of the demonic in their life.